Deramai. All right. What language?
Turkish.
I think that's pretty close.
Really?
Close. We're not there.
I have no idea.
It's definitely on the eastern side.
Serbian?
Kind of close. Where that is eastern.
Albania.
No. But I hear they have a great visa for workers,
Greek.
remote workers.
Greek.
Nope, not Greek. Okay, it's Estonian.
Estonian?
Yeah.
Where is
I should have said northeast. It's by the Baltic. Yeah, it's by the Baltics. It's definitely Eastern Europe, but
Okay.
it's north. It's north of Ukraine, and I think just directly northeast of Poland. Anyways,
So
one of the
I guess
Baltic countries.
Nobody's been,
No.
right?
Yeah, nobody's
We can all
been.
confirm that nobody's been.
Right, a relatively new country, actually.
For us. Not
So-
new, but for us.
Yeah, well, Estonia itself used to be part of the USSR. But we're not talking about the USSR or communism. We're talking about something very capitalistic today, I promise you. It's all about new construction and pre-construction. And we have a lot of experts in the room here today. So welcome to our beautiful panelists here. Thank you all for coming. It is all about selling new construction. And for people who work in new construction, we have a question for you. So to start out, what is it like being an in-house agent, and how is it different than being a normal sales agent? What do you guys think?
Well, I think I'll take this one. Being an in-house agent is totally different than being a general real estate agent. First and foremost, you have a schedule. You have to be somewhere at a certain time, can't leave at a certain time. You have to request your days off. It's kind of like, not working for yourself as a general real estate agent does. So that's primarily, you're also networking completely differently. So instead of generating prospect leads or reaching out to, buyers and sellers, you're trying to network with realtors and as many realtors as you can contact as possible so that they can bring you their buyers as opposed to the other way around.
We are your
Yeah.
clients.
So before, where you may think of realtors as competition, now you want to be everybody's friend. So the more people you know, the better.
Well, you're my friend. Thanks for being a friend.
I just want you to purchase a 72 Park.
All right. Do you do? I just got to do a reverse mortgage. We might be able to make that happen. Maybe not at the interest rate I want, though. But that's a different story, and a podcast that we've covered differently on a different day. So, what are you guys' thoughts? So it's interesting. You're trying to basically leverage other people's networks, right? So, what are some of the most successful ways? Because I would do the same thing in real estate. Like, I leverage your networks to get people to come to our events. You're using their networks to potentially buy a new development. What are some of the best ways that you've found for people to kind of hand over their networks, or at least to engage their network on your behalf?
I think some of the best ways to reach other realtors' networks is having great marketing material, right? Giving them something that their buyers would be interested in coming to. Having events, having events where realtors want to come, whether it's happy hours or other types of events where they can bring buyers and they can bring different agents, and just getting the word out as much as possible. Very cool.
Very cool. And what developments have caught your eye in the past year or so, and what are you excited about in the future? And this can go around. This will go around the table, but we'll start with you, Madison.
Okay. Well, I'm going to have to toot the horn of my own projects, which are 72 Park, Miami Beach, and Palma, Miami Beach. So those two are my favorite because they are on the beach, they have exclusive beach clubs, and they allow Airbnb, and 72 Park delivers now, so that sets it apart from pretty much any other project right now. So
I like those projects because are next to the beach and amazing. Airbnb allows, so it's amazing. I think a very cool project right now is Mercedes-Benz. Mercedes-Benz is amazing. If you don't went to the gallery, it's wow. It's a lot of content for realtors. So go and reach out to a Mercedes-Benz sales agent, and it's amazing. I do I shoot a lot of videos there. Yeah, and it's a cool new construction.
Maritza?
In Brico.
Manny, to touch a little bit about what you said and how you help other agents, what I love is when you send us the unbranded material. And we could just add our picture to it, add our logo to it, or add, our own little touch to it. And then you took something that was professionally done and that was, these images, whether it's renderings or if it's like 72 Park that's already done, and you could just use it as if it was you there, you know, and you filmed it. It just makes it so much easier. So thank you.
I remember that video. I sent that video to like 10 clients because she do a walkthrough of the property, the unit. That is amazing. Nobody
It's like,
do that.
yeah, it's
Nobody.
like having
We
another
do that,
agent.
but a sales agent never do that.
And another good thing about pre-construction is you can use the in-house agents like your own little assistants. Like, hey, I need you to send this email to a buyer. Hey, I need you to do this. Hey, I need you to record this. And they'll do everything for you. Like,
Yeah,
you
you
don't
take
have to
care-
even think about
You'll
it.
do everything.
Yeah, I will
Let's
do
be
it.
very specific. You're an amazing agent.
Yeah.
I've had
Thank you.
experiences with you.
You think
Not every
different.
agent is like that.
I appreciate that. I try.
Yeah, you definitely are.
So let's expand upon that idea for a second. So would it make sense? I mean, it's great that they're able to showcase you as the agent showing off the new construction, but would it make sense to create like a green wall at some of these sales centers for people to create their own branded walkthrough experiences? Is anybody doing that? Is this a new idea that has been derived from this podcast itself?
Green video.
Well, anybody can just come at any time and do that. We expect realtors to come and take content. We want them to, so that they can post it on their own pages. But there could be, more on that, and they could have more content capabilities to, put their logo on things or branded material or things like that. That just going the extra mile. But in terms of realtors coming and recording content and walking through, that's all day, every day.
Yeah.
I'll
but
talk
that's
a little bit
for
about that.
hold on, but that's for something that's already developed, right? I'm talking. A lot of these places aren't even developed yet.
Well, still, they have sales galleries. So people go to the sales galleries. They do frequently asked questions. They take content of them recording. Hey, I'm here at Mercedes-Benz. I'm here wherever,
Okay, yeah. So they just use the sales center instead. That makes sense. So
Yeah.
what were you about to say?
I'll talk a little bit about that. I had a workshop specifically. I taught here at the Board of Realtors a class, how to close 10 more transactions a year with new construction a couple years back. And then I would invite them to a sequel to come to the project, and then I would help them develop their social media so that they can attract buyers for the project that I was selling with at that time with Dearborn. One of the assets that you have working with new construction is that you have the kitchens that you can show. There's other projects like, for instance, I've sold a lot for PMG, 11. I think it's Vegas and Miami, projects that are very outside and will give a good return because they're very different. So and they have an experience too, which is I don't know if you guys have been able to go there, but they do have a metaverse that you actually walk
Oh,
the
wow.
actual
I went,
building
yeah.
with the
virtual
virtual goggles, and that's a very nice experience. That's a closed sale.
Mercedes have the same too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Have you done the one for Waldorf? It's
Waldorf,
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sold a lot there with that, but I would do that workshop, and it would help people develop their. And we're talking about 7 years ago, when it wasn't like how it is now. So definitely doing an event that these developers do. That's a great idea that you just put out there.
Yeah, cool. We got plenty more, so let's talk about it later on this podcast. Okay, so there's obviously a lot of new development going up. This has been a very exciting cycle, I think, for Miami itself, and I think what's really starting exciting, and we'll talk about 72 Park, is things are finally starting to come online that we can check out, which is even cooler. What areas do you expect to be completely transformed in the next 5 years within Miami-Dade or Broward or Palm Beach counties? What sort of transformations are you really excited about?
North Beach.
North Beach, definitely North Beach. Surfside is definitely going through another overhaul. Hollywood,
North Bay
also.
Village.
Holland,
Right, North Bay Village.
I would
Yeah,
say
North
Port
Bay
St.
Village.
Lucie too. They're really up and coming right now. When I was just over there with my client showing her new construction, they were already showing us the models that they have building like next door of like this whole resort style like chill area for people to come in. So that's gonna bring prices up for like the
And that's-
surrounding community.
And that's in Port St. Lucie.
yeah.
A resort style in Port
Like,
St. Lucie.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's extremely beautiful.
Is it resort enough? Does it appease somebody from Miami, or is this more kind of marketed towards the rest of the United States?
I would say it's for everybody. Honestly, there's bars, restaurants, like a little fire pit area. Like the models that they were showing us were extremely beautiful. So I can't wait to see how that turns out.
Very cool. There's a lot of places that were mentioned that I had no idea that they're going through these new development transformations. Ones that y'all missed though, guys.
Downtown.
I was about to
Miami
say,
World Center.
like
Hello.
Number
Yeah.
one.
downtown Miami in a couple of years is going to be almost unrecognizable, and the amount of nightlife and entertainment that's coming in, I would imagine is going to disrupt other areas like Wynwood and everywhere else. I don't know.
Brickell.
And Brickell too.
Yeah.
Like,
No one's gonna.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, and
Why
what's
would
gonna
you?
happen
Why
to
buy in
Brickell?
Brickell when
Do
you
you
could buy
really
in
think
downtown?
it's going to disrupt Brickell? I think Brickell's strong enough where they're going to have their market share, and downtown's going to be a different type of market.
I think eventually.
It attracts a different
Right.
type of buyer. It attracts a different crowd. It's like Wynwood does, and you know, like a lot of these pockets design district does. There's something for everyone.
Yeah.
I
you
think
know?
eventually
happened to the
Brickell and
Grove.
downtown.
The Grove.
That happened to the Grove. Brickell took over, right?
Yeah, so
Because
I
the
think-
Grove used to be the place
You're right.
back in the day.
Yeah.
And
It's
then
back
Brickell
though.
came in, and Brickell was nothing. Mary Brickell was struggling
Mm-hmm.
with commercial because that, you know, I've been in the business 31 years, so I've seen the growth of Miami. But Miami World Center is the Hudson Yards of Miami.
I think Brickell and downtown, you're not going to be able to differentiate between
Yeah,
the
it's
two.
gonna be the same.
It's going to be one
It's
and the
all
same.
flowing into
But
each
the
other.
difference is, it's not that Brickell won't hold its own. It's that in terms of property value increase, in Brickell, there's not much room for appreciation because everything's already there. Downtown, you buy now, in 10 years, all of these buildings are going to be there that weren't there now that are going to
I
help
have
your
an
appreciation.
example in downtown. My client bought a unit in Nativo 3 years ago when just started the construction for 1 million 3-bedroom unit Airbnb allowed. Now that unit costs 2 million in only 2-3 years
Mm-hmm.
because he bought in pre-construction. So pre-construction is amazing
Yeah.
because of that. The
Yeah.
equity.
The equity built is. I'll go. I'm gonna voucher on that one. I had a client buy a 2-2 lockout unit at 11 for about 1.1, and it's, you know, the last sale is
Now it's-
1.9.
Oh.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this real quick. This is a fascinating discussion. We are now transitioning from new development over to sales. But let's talk about those sales. Where should we be buying because of these new developments to experience the most appreciation? If you had a crystal ball, which we don't, and we are allowed to make forecasts even if they're wrong, where are you buying right now?
In all the
Miami World
areas that
Center.
we say.
And the beach.
North Village, North Miami, North Miami Beach.
100%.
Beach, yeah.
Edgewater.
Downtown, Edgewater.
You got
Port
Alapata.
Wynwood.
Alapata's a good one.
Yeah, so you guys got part of the, so if it's a neighborhood in Alapata, great. But you got part of the assignment right. Like, are there specific developments that are in sales now that we should be targeting because the appreciation's most certainly going to happen once this is all finished? Like specific buildings. We're getting really granular here, if we can.
You want us to call out the
Yeah.
exact building?
Yeah.
I'm gonna voucher. I definitely love the Vegas in Miami in 11. That's definitely a vibe here. We don't have anything like that.
But that's sold out.
It's sold out now.
No, but then you have now the new, they're developing
11 Beyond?
No,
Or
the
West
jazz
11?
area.
What's that?
We're having a jazz area here, guys, like New Orleans. Do you guys know about it?
No, tell us.
No
more.
idea.
Okay, you gotta share
So-
the deets.
So there's a building that they have. They have West 11. They have 11.
11.
And then they have Overtown, which is really the primarily history of the jazz. Back in the day, when black artists would come to perform at the Fontainebleau, they had to stay in the Overtown area. They were not allowed to stay in the Fontainebleau area. So everybody, after they would perform, they would head down to the Overtown and hang out. So go check out Josephine Hotel. Go drive around Overtown. PMG has a project that's west. It's in Overtown, and that whole area is being developed with the under park that they're doing. So that's another upcoming area that you can get a good price, 400, 500 for units and investors to buy. That is all being developed because we're going from the east to the west, inland, and that's definitely the up and coming. The next 10 years what we're looking at. So definitely I've been focusing on that. I've always seen a vision that's where our city is growing. We're coming from the east into the inland now, which
Yeah,
is what we're seeing in
run out of
Redwood.
land, so now
Yeah.
you gotta.
Mhm,
There's only one
mhm.
way to go: is west or north.
That's why opportunities are near the water, because it's going to appreciate more and more and more.
Mhm.
Like New York, you can buy nothing looking the water in New York
Mhm,
because
mhm.
it's too expensive. And
Expensive.
here it's still a good price for people out of state.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. And just the lifestyle we offer.
Right.
Right?
Well, that's cool. So it's amazing how new development might actually help with some of the older development in the area and bring not only appreciation, but maybe new life to some of these areas that maybe have seen it decline throughout the years for whatever reason, because there's shifts in where people want to spend their time and everything else. But let's bring it back. This is all about new construction, so it's my fault. Let's keep it that way. What are some things that you're seeing agents do right now when selling new construction, and that you can give advice for people to take as part of their own business plan?
I think a huge thing in terms of doing right is relationship building. It's especially in new development and pre-construction. It's all about relationships. And going to as many events as you can, whether they're your own buildings or in other buildings, meeting as many people as possible, hosting your own events, even if it's scary, people will go. Yeah, I think that's a huge factor because it's really about your network.
I'm gonna say what I tell, because since I coach different agents, work at the sales offices. People are working from home. Use these sales offices as your office for motivation to make calls. So I always tell my agents that I'm coaching, listen, work at the development office. Pick certain days to work from there. They love to have you there. They really cater to you. They really give you tools to sell. And you learn about the project. And you really become an expert. And then you also make relationships with the inside sales agents. So work from there. They have all the they even offer you food when you're there. But I'm saying, that's what I'm seeing. That's what I actually do. I work from the sales offices. I don't work from my office. I work from their offices, and I'm able to sell their product because. But I haven't seen. I just do that myself. But I think if agents did that, they would sell more new pre-construction.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
Mm-hmm.
So you just go there and you say, hey, do you mind if I work here for the day?
No, I
And-
actually interview and I'll say who I'm going to be working with, and then I start working. Like, for instance, Flow House is in Miami World Center. I fell in love with it because I really authentically have to fall in love with the project. I love it. It has this whole energy to it. It's about good vibes. I love it. It's in Miami World Center. Then when I offer people to take the Bright Line that are coming investors and do the experience to take the Bright Line. I meet them. We walk the whole Miami World Center. Then we stop at the project and we'll have some coffee because they give you coffee for free and sandwiches and things like that. They have a little cafe and it's a great project, right? Flow House. Have you guys been there?
Yeah.
I have.
another
It's very
great
cool,
project.
very unique.
So, and also have the opportunity of taking this Bright Line, doing like a commute. I always tell people, you have to have the experience in order to be able to sell the product.
Sure.
Gonna go? Okay,
So-
no, go for it.
I think we are missing a lot of opportunities because Miami is international market. So we most of us speak the two languages, three languages, and we don't do ads in other countries. I'm doing ads in South America, and I'm receiving a good amount of leads looking at new construction because those people look at new construction only. They don't want pre-sale. They don't want resale, nothing like that. So it's easy. I don't know, easy leads that and more money for agents because the pre-construction the commission is higher, and the amount that you spend in ads in South America is the same amount that you spend in ads in here. So I'm doing that and I'm receiving good leads and show in your newsletter or in your emails the new construction every week. I need the different new construction, and people see that you work in new construction. They see your ads, and they're going to call you. They're going to call you for sure. That is something missing that other agents are not doing.
So let's break that down. I'm grateful that you brought this point up and you're sharing this level of expertise with you. So what countries are you targeting? And with what
Argentina is the
development?
number one, Colombia, Argentina, Mexico, What else? Central America, like Peru. I have a lot of clients in Peru, Ecuador. You need to find the countries that are going well. They don't know how. Venezuela, I cannot target Venezuela right now. No, I cannot target Cuba. So find the countries that are buying in Miami and send ads. Send ads. Meta ads, Google ads, YouTube ads. There is
Very cool. So are you targeting by like a zip code, an email address
No,
that you
it's
have?
like-
How are you targeting these people?
areas in Buenos Aires, areas in Lima, areas. It's like geo-targeting ads.
Makes sense. Okay. That's very cool. I don't know. And
With
what's
the
great,
free material that the new construction is offering.
that's what I was about to add, is because that's massive. I love working with new developers because their marketing materials are gorgeous. And so
Amazing.
for you to be able to put money behind that and send it to other people, I'm sure it could be quite effective. Is that true?
It's more expensive for sure, but it's effective because they use the best videographer, the best Matterport, the best everything marketing. So, yeah, you can use it for free.
Yeah, and let's talk about this a little bit. I know that people even have sometimes dedicated websites to specific developments. Has anybody seen that strategy be employed?
I've done that strategy.
So tell us more.
Well, I've done that strategy with the Elster. It's a building that's right in downtown. That was another project that PMG had. It was not a conversion, but it was going to be a rental community society, and then they decided to sell it. So what I did was I did get some leads from there, and you could definitely work leads, but I really would steer away from representing the developer, because that's a really fine line. So you have to be very disclosure on that. I feel what he was saying is market yourself as an expert.
Yeah.
Market yourself as a new construction
general.
expert in general. And then don't mention the project, because then what they do is
They
the
go
buyers
directly
just
to the
navigate
project.
straight to their site. So you have to be very careful with that, because you'll probably lose a lead. But I would definitely say that
Don't
if
put
you,
address, don't put names.
yeah, you could definitely show like different appealing ads for different investors, second homes, people that are looking for Airbnbs, property management. We talked about that. I think we did talk about property management, helping them get that return. What can you do for them that's different? And then having them reach out to you to be that expert to help themselves.
Sure. You said something that I'm a little puzzled about, and so if we could delve in this, I think would be great. Isn't it your fault when they reach out to the developer instead of you? Isn't that part of your job, is to communicate that or create the right sort of platform for them to show interest in that new development without actually going to that new development? So what I'm alluding to, and maybe this is out of pure ignorance, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but like if you were to send them a generic platform saying, if you want more info about this development, fill out your information here. Isn't it easy as just creating the right sort of funnel to make sure that they go through you instead of the developer themselves when buying new development?
Right, you do, but let me tell you what happens with
Yeah,
that.
please, let's
So-
avoid this pitfall.
So if you, I've worked inside sales.
I have not, so go
Okay.
ahead.
All right. So when you register a buyer, right,
You're
your
good.
buyer's only good for 30 days.
Okay, I did not
Then
know
your
that.
developer can go after them, and they will.
So how do you protect them?
I don't know that.
Yes, I'm going to tell you because I've been the
You
inside
didn't tell me that.
I didn't know that.
Not with her development.
Yeah.
They'll do their act. So it's very, when I go and I take a buyer to a development, the way I protect myself is I put my information.
Ah, very cool.
I put their name, but I put my number and my information. I do not put their information unless I'm going to do a contract. Why? Because they have the right to go market them.
But also, say you didn't send that buyer any information. They just stumbled upon your Instagram, or they've been following you for a while, and they see you're talking about 72 Park, and they say, oh, let me research 72 Park.
Yeah.
And then they fill out the form, and it goes to a different person on the sales team. It's nothing that you did. It's just they wanted to do their research.
Yeah,
So
and
you
I
want to
think-
avoid saying the name.
And they don't know.
Buyers are smarter
Yeah.
now.
Sure.
So as soon as they hear about a project, they want to know more about a project, right? So we're gonna create the content to capture the lead and to create that curiosity. But that buyer is gonna go and do extra research. Every buyer now is smart. I mean, we have Google so accessible that it's just it's bound to happen. So do we lose a lot of leads and, we're spreading the word and not maybe getting paid for it? Yes, absolutely. What BB brought up about the 30 days, I know that after the whole BBA or buyer brokerage agreement came out, new development was saying now it's all for everybody, like everybody is on their own. Because before it wasn't a 30-day registration, they honored
always
it.
been a
They
30-day,
honored
well,
a little bit more depending on the development. The honor
Depending
3
on-
months, 6 months. It
Depending.
was like 30 days. It depended on each project was a different timeline. But yes, you're creating a CRM for them, for the developer, to market now to this person. So I don't put my name, but you have to create that relationship with the client.
I would definitely use my contact information. That's brilliant. And I think the other thing that we need to discuss now that we have this key piece of information is, what is your call to action when you are marketing these new developments? Are you directing them, to get the information through you, to go through the website? And is there anything we can do to kind of encourage them to go through you as opposed to going through the website? What makes sense for our call to action to direct more traffic towards us as opposed to the new development website? Is there anything we can do?
No offense to Maddie, but
what? What are you gonna say?
but as general real estate agents, we know what's right for the client. It's your job to sell your project, not necessarily to sell other projects, but they might be enticed for one project, but then it's an agent's responsibility to see what are their wants and needs and see if maybe there's a better project that fits for them. So I think that's what general real estate agents, as not as in-house, but I think that we do that, right? We listen to the client. We try to figure out what's the best move for them. Maybe it's Brickell, maybe it's the beach, maybe it's something that they're not going to live in now, but maybe in 10 years, and then see the projection in 10 years and guide them and take them to the project that's going to be right for them.
I'm gonna add that you always want representation,
Yeah.
right? Because if you go straight to a developer,
Yeah, they have you.
How are they looking
Right.
at your best interest?
Yeah.
Right.
How do they know? They're gonna offer you what they're gonna offer you, but as an expert, you being that expert, you're gonna negotiate with them the best terms.
So that's the answer right there. Now, how you portray that to your client base is up to you. But I think when you're working with new construction, it's more important than ever to have and project that value add that you just highlighted. How you do that, that's for y'all to decide. But I think that's a very important key piece of information that our listeners need to know to protect themselves. Are new developers bad? No, there's incredible opportunities for your business through these new developments. I think you just have to know the right way to approach it. So thank you all for that. That's a very valuable piece of information to this podcast. Now let's talk about once these new developments are finished and they go online and they can be entered into the MLS. It's still kind of similar, but it's a little off topic now. But I want to bring it into this conversation. Is what are some of the best ways to sell condos in today's market? What are you seeing differently compared to previous years?
Answer you.
In today's market. Oh, wow. Condos, we have, several issues right now, but we are talking about how can we help our buyers is asking the right question to the leasing agent, to the association, because now the association have the power. They have all the documents that we need to close a deal, a transaction. Work with a lender that knows how to work with condos, because that is important. First-time clients, they think they can buy with 5% in every condo. It's not that possible. You need to have the right down payment. So you need to have a team with you working, the right team, a lender, a leasing agent that know the building, the condo, and the association. You need to be in touch with the association. Don't wait on the leasing agent. If you don't have the answer from the leasing agent, go directly to the association. Call them, bring a cafecito to them, and look. Can you give me this information? Because it's hard sometimes with the association, and present everything to the buyer, and the buyer decide if it's the right building for them or no. But it's more in our end now to work with these condos.
That's great. That's a really good point too. Is to take care of your HOA people. I can't imagine how many hateful phone calls they get like on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And if you just take care of them from the beginning, can you imagine how
I bring
much of a better
croquetas.
position you're in to get what you actually need?
I bring donuts, croquetas, cafecito, whatever is needed.
So smart, guys. Don't skimp on the HOA people. Let me ask you a question. I live in a condo. It was an eye-opening experience for me. And reserves are obviously a huge part of the purchasing process. I just went through the vote whether we would have full reserves or not, and I was surprised how many people voted against having full reserves just for saving a couple of dollars. I was really quite surprised. I was really on edge.
That's why we are in this
My condo
situation.
is on full reserves. Thankfully, we didn't get enough votes to have it like on a partial reserve. But is there a database out there to where we know which condos are being funded at full reserves and which ones aren't? Because that's also going to help on the transaction itself, correct?
Thanks to Miami-Dade, to our association, that we are creating a database. It's not fully complete, but this year we start with some buildings. There is buildings that have 40-year certification in the database, 50-year certification, all the documents needed for the lender, and for us, condo, docs, and rules and regulation, everything is there. There is a website. We can send the link for the people that are listening, but thanks to Miami-Dade County, Broward is doing the same. We are trying to bring all the condos documents in this platform. Yeah.
Yeah, so the platform, and we could thank Wesley for that because she started this, but is condo registry is
Yes.
what you're referring to. And
Yes.
yes, luckily, Miami-Dade has already taken care of it, and almost every building now has all their documents uploaded there, from their bylaws to any amendments that they've done, budgets for 2024, 2025, everything's there. And I know Broward is following in their footsteps as well.
I got a fascinating question with that now. Okay, so hear me out. And I think this is kind of a steering question. Now, I might have the terminology wrong, but let's say somebody wants to go put an offer on a condo that doesn't have full reserves or anything else that might hinder the property. What sort of conversation are you ethically allowed to have to tell that person, hey, you might encounter a lot of problems. We might want to focus on some of these other ones over here? Or is that completely out of the question?
No, you need to see if your client qualified for the building, for the transaction.
Because they have to put a higher down payment when the building doesn't have the reserves that it needs.
Right. But I have an idea that I want to share for those agents that want to think outside the box. I would target, if you work with investors, I would target these buildings that do have issues. You know why? Because those buildings are being purchased.
You can negotiate
They're being
more.
bulk sales are being done. So if you have an investor that has deep pockets, scope out those buildings that are going to be purchased as a bulk buy, because you know what? They're going to buy it at a very low price point right now.
And
They've
so-
got the money. They place their money there. But in a year or two, they're going to be offered by a bulk purchase 3 times what that building is worth.
To
Okay.
take over
So
the
that
building.
should be a niche for some people that want to explore that.
Yeah.
I'm doing that niche. I'm sharing it. I really don't care. I always put there that's value, but that's a niche.
Just because you're putting it out in the world through this podcast does not mean that anybody else. So there might be 1 or 2 people in this room or
They're
1 people that
doing it
watch it that are going to do it as well. But for the most part, you can put whatever you want out in the universe. It doesn't mean that people are actually going to put in the work. I can't imagine what sort of research that would take. And I won't actually ask you for this podcast. You can keep that to yourself. But if they want to reach out to you, maybe that would be the best course of action. Okay, so that's great. Is there anything else that you guys are seeing in today's market of to better sell condos? Have you seen what certain agents are doing that are selling a lot of condos that are successful? Is there anything we want to expand upon the resale market?
Since BB shared a golden nugget of hers, I'll share one of mine for selling condos and trying to figure out if your buyer wants it or doesn't want it. Ask for the HOA minutes. It's one of the documents that isn't required for us to provide, but if you review those HOA minutes, then you can see what the building is talking about, see what they're discussing, and see what plans they have for the future. If you see what they're discussing, you're gonna be able to say, okay, there may be an assessment coming, or the projection of this building having improvements is going to be coming the next 5, 10 years, 3 years. they're going to discuss it in these meetings. So ask for the HOA minutes. Don't be shy. Usually only sellers can provide it. So excuse me, they need to get it from the sellers. They won't give it to just anybody from the public. But you're entitled to that. So request it and review those meeting minutes with your client.
How far back do you typically go?
I do at least last 3 meetings because it depends. They might have a monthly, depending on the HOA. They could have monthly meetings, quarterly meetings, but at least 3. And
I
then
do
you get an idea of
It gives
where
you a
the-
temperature.
Yeah, you can see what they're discussing because unless you live there, you don't know what's going on. You could review the budget and the summary all you want, the rules and regulations and the bylaws, and you can review everything all you want, but the people that are living there are really the ones that know what's going on.
That is great.
Sadly, some of the people that are living there, even they
Or
don't even know
yeah.
what's going on.
If they don't want to be
right?
involved, then yeah, sometimes they don't even know.
I'm kind of in the dark with my HOA. I do read the minutes. It's funny. I would recommend going back at least a year or 2. You know, if it's a monthly meeting and you only go back 3 months, that's probably not enough time.
Yeah.
Come to think of it, but that's a great point.
It's a great point. I have another
100%.
point. Work with your realtor with experience and your lender, because lenders have a list of condos that qualify already for them for 5% down, for 10% down. So they have a list. They tell you, oh, you qualify for 5. Look, these are 5 buildings in Brico qualify for 5. These 5 buildings in Edward qualify for 5. So your team is very important with who you work.
And Kevin, I don't know if we're allowed to share this yet. You could cut it off if we're not.
Sure.
But I think the MLS now is going to implement that feature into the MLS and show which buildings got financed with 5%, 10%, 20%. So that's really going to help a lot of agents know without having to do so much legwork, because it does require a lot of legwork from the mortgage broker or from the buyer's agent or listing agent to see if it qualifies or if it doesn't qualify for less than 20% financing.
Oh, that's a good piece of advice. That's great. Yeah, I had to put 20% down. So yeah, that tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't have to deal with PMI, but you know, I guess that's a really important key piece of information that you should share, and we'll find out soon when it's added.
When it's added to the MLS, yeah.
And there's some buildings that a lot of people don't know, agents don't know, that veterans can finance 100% in these buildings.
Yeah,
And
maybe
they can waive the reserve right. I don't know if you guys know that.
they didn't know that.
Yep, they can waive it. They'll waive it at closing, the VA office.
So I guess that would be another field that we need to add in this condo
Registry.
the condo registry. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great. Cool. All right, so let's finish the podcast with and it could be either for pre-construction or resale. But what are some of the myths behind selling or buying pre-construction or selling or buying a condo? And we can just go around the room. We'll start with you.
Myths. I feel that in pre-construction.
Either one.
Okay, so let's go with pre-construction because that's my niche. One of the myths is you're gonna have a team. Your team is a developer. Working with the developer is going to help you. People feel that it's going to be hard, but it's actually not, because you actually have a contract admin that helps you out, where you don't have to have your closing transaction coordinator help you out with that. You really have a team behind you, so you can focus more on your sales.
Cool.
Okay, so that's gonna be my little nugget for that.
That's amazing. Gee.
I honestly don't know any myths right now that I can think of.
Okay, so instead of myths, you just did your first offer on a pre-construction, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's reframe the question for you. And congratulations for getting
Congrats.
an offer.
It's
again, by the way.
amazing.
Hopefully it gets accepted. But
Yeah,
what
it's
did
all
you
good.
expect throughout this transaction, and what was reality? What were some of the nuances and differences there?
Well, I'm very shocked at the amount of work that we actually have to put in for new construction. They handle everything. Of course, we have to go show them the house and show them all of their options. But other than that, you just show up for the first time and then that's it.
All right, so you just handed them over.
Yeah, because for
Well-
my client, what she's doing is she's starting fresh from scratch. So she's not choosing ones that's already built. So she's, picking all her finishes and all of that.
Yeah,
So it's gonna be finished in about a year.
well, that's good. So, but you handed her over. So, but what were the complications? What were you surprised that you had to do, considering you just pretty much handed her over?
It was a pretty smooth transaction. I can't lie to you.
Okay, so it was easy. All right, so it wasn't bad. So there wasn't anything out of control that was terrible to
No.
deal with.
It was great.
It was okay. So
Yeah, I would do that 10 times over.
very nice. And I'm sure your in-house agent does matter. So pick a good one. What do you got over
Oh
here?
yeah, she was great.
Something that I don't know if every buyer is using, the inspection when the new construction deliver the unit to you. We do that inspection in Nativo, I remember Nativo, and I handled the inspection with the inspector, and the new construction guy, the manager of the new construction came and put the tape in every single change that we want, and after 1 week or 2 weeks, everything was resolved. But an inspection is good, and you have 1 year to go back and say something is wrong, something is not working. You have 1 year for new construction to warranty that inspection. So after 1 year, do another inspection to see if everything's still working.
Oh, that's great. I didn't know
Yeah.
about the waiting 1 year,
Yeah.
doing it twice. Because I'll tell you, some people don't inspect their new construction,
Correct.
and you should. I'll
Yes.
give you a perfect example. This didn't happen in the state of Florida. I heard this at a national conference, but they were some new construction guy was just screwing in vents to holes that weren't even there. So it was just they were just putting a vent for a vent to be there. So you point
And
that
it
sort
wasn't
of stuff.
connected to anything?
It was connected to nothing. Right.
To show.
Right. So I mean, it's just those sort of things where you really should have because you never know. You never know what
You
happens.
think it's new, but
Correct.
They make mistakes like us.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, great point. Two instead of one. Love that. Go ahead.
So, a myth about pre-construction and working in-house sales is that it's going to be easy and that you can just sit there and let the leads walk in and they're going to just pass you their $2 million and buy a unit. That is not how it happens.
Oh, no?
And no, I know, shocking, shocking. No, it's not. And these are my first projects, and it takes a lot of calls, hundreds and hundreds and thousands of calls and thousands of presentations to other realtors to bring in their clients. People don't just walk in off the streets. It just doesn't happen that way. So people should know that before attempting to join. And if they're not wanting to make those calls or do those things, then it is not for you.
I saw your success, and I want to change to new construction, but it's not easy.
It's harder than it looks.
She makes it look easy.
Yeah.
Maddie, so
Thank you.
answer me this myth or fact, because I don't know, and I've heard it around people saying. But I've heard that pre-construction pricing is a projected price of what it will be worth when it's delivered.
Yeah.
Do you think that the pricing that the developers are selling these units at is what it's worth today, or do you think it's what it will be worth when it's being delivered?
It's definitely, they vary, right? So when it starts, your price is lower than what it's going to be when it's about to deliver. The price goes up. However, it's a valuation of what it's going to be worth when it delivers, which is why you're getting it at a discount. When you buy before it's even broken ground, you are getting a discount because that delivery price at the end is going to be worth so much more.
Yeah.
And then with resales, how does that affect the new construction, like condos, when it's done?
Well, I think with resales, it increases their property value, right? Like I have my unit at the Ivy, and now Faena District is coming. And so I'm excited because hopefully in the next 5 years, my property value will increase. So that's what I'm looking forward to. So I think it helps the resale value of the buildings that are already there.
Of the ones surrounding it.
Right.
I have a question. It's based loosely off of the concept you're talking about. How often do you see somebody buy in at the start of the new construction process and then flip the contract before it's even done being constructed?
So they don't flip it before it's done being constructed, but people buy pre-construction just to sell it as soon as it delivers.
Right.
Because you could bought a unit at $700,000 and at delivery it's at $1 million.
Right.
So that's sometimes people's
cannot-
only goal.
You
You
can't-
cannot sell something that is not yours. You don't have a deed. You don't have nothing. You have only a contract that say that you are going to purchase that property.
Yes.
So you don't flip it.
You
don't
can't.
No, you can.
That's
you
what I
can.
thought.
Yeah,
You can.
It's
Let me-
almost
Thank
the
you.
way that you legally do it,
Okay.
because it's residential, the way that you legally do it is that you have to open up a corporation, then you have to
Oh.
ask the contract admin, the developer, to approve that corporation, and then
You
you do
sell
a
the
flip.
business.
I know because I do
You
that.
sell the business.
And
Yes,
what's
you
important is to make sure that that new
Right.
construction
You cannot
contract is assignable.
Right, it's not assignable. It's what happens
sell
is,
the
it's not
business.
assignable,
No. Yeah.
because that's illegal in residential. You can't assign. But what you can do is, the initial person buys it under their name. When you're,
change
gonna- I've done it because I'm doing it, I've done it now. I've always been that. You buy, the investor buys 5 units at initial price. We wait about 2 years, 3 years, and what we do is, we go ahead and we market the property, and it's still in a great price because there's equity there. And what we do is, we open up a corporation, the new buyers come in the corporation, at closing, there's a simultaneous closing.
Yeah, you sell the business, yeah, the corporation.
That's the way you do it.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I knew there was a way you could do it. So, and Antonio, thanks for bringing BB on, man. Really appreciate it. She's full of great information. Honestly, this has been a massive podcast. So yeah, anything else that we want to add before we close this podcast about primarily pre-construction, but also condo sales as well? Any questions? Any advice?
Construction is easy.
It's
We know.
definitely a smart way. I've specialized in that the last 7 years of my career. It's, nothing is really easy, right, in this business, but it's definitely, it makes it, working with colleagues, like, we have our beautiful Madison here, and working with talented agents out there to really, it makes our work a lot easier to make more sales. The only drawback for some people is that cash flow. So you have to strategically work, looking at projects like 72 Park, they're paying now, right? And then you start building your income, because if it's someone that's new in the business, they can't wait, 6 months or till they get their 40%, and then they're not making any money. So you have to manage how you're gonna bring in your cash flow with your commissions, and just knowing what projects to work with and what agents to work with. I think that would be the best advice I would say, because I am an expert in new construction. That's what I would say.
Beautiful. Anybody else? Well, if you aren't excited about selling new construction after watching this podcast, stick with resale, because I don't think new construction is for you. I've learned a lot today, and if you're willing for the challenge, Madison, before we go, and if somebody has aspirations to be in new construction, how did you get started, and what would your advice be for somebody who wants to get their foot in the door?
Don't do it.
I got started by calling every single pre-development project around me and asking to speak to the sales director, until they put me in contact with the president of pre-development at Cervera, who interviewed me and told me to switch from my brokerage if I was serious about it, and then maybe they'd give me like an internship or something. And I was serious about it, so I switched. And then they put me to assist on Lofty, which is a project in Brickell. I did that for a few months, showed that I was willing to put in the work and pay my dues, and wasn't just expecting to be put on a project because I said I wanted to be on a project. And then when the time to interview with 72 Park came along, I was chosen to interview, and I fortunately got the job. But that's how I did it. And yeah, that's what I would suggest.
Yeah, so earn it.
Yeah.
Looks like there are zero entitlements as far as new construction is concerned, and probably the way it should be. So find somebody that's a mentor. Obviously, we have 2 amazing mentors, one there, one here. So, don't be shy to reach out to these people. And, even if there's somebody else, it's worth asking. It's worth asking. There's a lot of great opportunities in pre-construction, and I don't think that this industry, especially in Miami-Dade and Southern Florida, is going away anytime soon. We're going to continue to see new development here. And so I think it's really important to kind of focus on this side of the business as well. Just even if it's a drip campaign, just to see if you have any potential buyers for these new developments. It only probably takes you, 30 minutes to an hour to set up an email, and who knows how much you'll get in return for that one touch. So if you have any other questions, you can reach out to any of us. You can also reach out to YPN.global or Miami YPN on Instagram. We'd love to have you as a follower. And thank you for tuning in today. We'll see you on the next YPN podcast coming up real soon. Take care.